Welcome, welcome. I'm Meek the Invoice.
I'm Monique Elliott, your host of Monique Mondays.
I'm TAYLAN Kelly.
And I'm Natasha Kelly. I manage TAYLAN and Brian Kelly.
I love it. I know that we have a lot going on. We are literally in the midst of a star. And I feel like between you and me, I don't know if we're like the stargazers or I don't know, like that the center nebula where all the stars come. But this is Monique's Monday. If you haven't seen it before, Monique, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what the purpose of Monique's Mondays is.
Well, Nick, I love it. I love you, baby. I am
Mm.
blessed to have our beautiful guest. And so on Mondays, what we do is have our guests come in, and this is a platform to talk about transitions as far as being able to go into stardom and stardom in your own right. So, what I mean by that is everyone has their own gifts. Every person has been blessed to have, I don't believe one person has come to this earth without a gift. And
Yes.
so it's about nurturing that gift. It's about seeing how it grows, and then also what it took. Because a lot of times we only see the other side of someone doing well. We only see
Right?
after they made it,
Absolutely.
or
Yes.
or we assume that they had it good all the time. Nothing ever stopped them. This is what happens. No, I want us to be able to talk on here about challenges. I want us to talk about victories after those challenges and what that looks like, because it gives us encouragement.
Yes.
No matter who is watching,
Yes.
I want you to be encouraged that no obstacle can stop you from your dream. No obstacle. It may take a minute,
Right.
but it can't stop you from your
Exactly.
dream.
Mhm.
So tell us a little more, love, about your dreams and how all this began.
Yes.
And what
so-
you do, sweetheart.
Yes, so I am a professional signed model. I'm also a men's fashion stylist. So that's kind of like fashion, and I've always loved taking pictures, and I've always loved everything about fashion. My mom likes to say I was born in fashion.
She
So
would, she
And
would
she
know.
knows.
yes,
She would
was.
know.
yeah. So I love everything fashion related, and I always love being in front of the camera. I always love taking pictures, and those two kind of go hand in hand. And kind of modeling is kind of like the middle of both of those things. So I kind of got into that through my mom. She was able to submit me to some agencies,
Oh, I love it.
and actually in the middle of the night,
There's
and
a
she
story.
didn't. There's a whole story
What's the
behind.
story?
it.
Let's
Yeah.
tell us. I
So,
need a little bit
from
of
her-
this story.
From her
please.
perspective, she can tell the story of kind of like, because she was the one who submitted me, and then I'll tell you my story on after I found out, after being submitted and signed. So
I love
Okay.
that.
yes.
So he has always had an affinity for fashion, like
Yeah.
you said. And so at probably his freshman year in high school, he had wanted to be a fashion, like an assistant to the stylist to these $1 million books for this company, well-known store. That was all in the making. So we had it all mapped out. Had the conversations. They've seen him. They loved him. Everybody was all set to go. This started at freshman year. So freshman year, we go through sophomore year. Because he needed to be 18.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for him to be old enough for them to hire
Yeah.
him, and it's all mapped out. Part of this club, and then there was a change in leadership. We'll just say that.
Mm.
And with that change in leadership, that changed the opportunity. That's probably the
Yeah.
best way that I could phrase it. That changed the
Mhm.
opportunity. So because there's a lot to it, but then the opportunity just was not there.
There anymore. Yeah.
And I had to be the one to tell him
Mm.
that opportunity was not there
So this
anymore.
at this point, this is like junior year or
This
senior
is
year?
Senior year.
Oh,
So
We're
no.
3.5
So almost-
years
yeah.
Oh,
into
my
So you're
So-
thinking you're almost there, and then
It's like the rug is pulled out from
Yes,
his
Yeah.
dream.
yes.
I was devastated.
My goosebumps are devastated.
I
right
was.
now.
That's how I felt. Like how am I going to tell him? This
Yes.
is his dream. We've talked
Yes.
about it, and we're waiting for this date for this to happen. And then all of a sudden, oh nope, that's not going to happen anymore. And so I had to figure out how I was going to tell him. And when I told him, I said that when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. we will figure it out.
Yeah.
We will figure it out.
Yes.
If, when one door closes, another one
Another one
opens.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And I told him one of my favorite quotes, which I think is Milton Berle, could be, which is, when opportunity doesn't knock, you build a door.
Hey.
Build a door. So even though I said all of that, I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what am I gonna do?
I
And
know,
we
but
hate to
what do we
see,
do?
I'm sorry, baby,
No,
our
good.
children hurt.
Yes,
Yes.
that's
We hate to
exactly
see
it.
that.
That's
Children
exactly
hurt.
what I was gonna say.
That's
As a
what it
mother,
was. Right. I
Okay,
thought,
so I have a question
Yeah.
before we skip to the good part, because we see the good part.
Do y'all see this,
We
brother?
see the good part.
Do y'all see?
I thought I missed the memo, but
Uh,
I think we're all
No, we still have the memo.
I
Everyone,
missed the memo.
everyone has a pattern on some type of print.
We do. But I want to ask. I have two questions. The first one being, as a mother, I really want to talk about as a parent when you have to basically break your child's heart.
Right.
Like, what's that internal struggle that you go through for that? And then in the same hand, I want to ask you, as a young person, an individual who has been preparing for something, and you have this dream, and like, you're literally counting down the days. I can only imagine.
Yes.
Because it's just a matter of time.
Right.
There's the opportunities there, the skill set is there. You're just waiting on the time. What your mental state was in that moment of finding out before we had to intentionally pivot, right? Because at some point we have the problem, but before we have the solution, we have to actually work through the problem
Exactly.
to get to the solution. So I want to ask y'all that.
So, and there was so much to it because he was actually working for different fragrance designers. He was
Okay.
doing social media content.
Yeah.
He was shooting content. Tom Ford, Creed, Maison Kirkshon. I mean, he was doing all that. Maison Francis Kirkshon. He was doing all of those things. So there were all these steps leading up to it. In preparation for this, he also had earned a scholarship to
That's wonderful.
Fabric of Tempe for fashion.
Fashion.
Yes.
So
I love that.
everything
Yeah.
had
Big
lined
shout out to
up.
Fabric.
It
Yes.
was, it just was his whole being that was part of it. So having said all of that, it was very painful for me. I actually teared up.
Of
I did.
course.
He
Yes.
didn't see it. But when I had the conversation with the people, when they had the conversation with me, I was heartbroken for him. And I said that. I said, so now I have to basically break his heart. And I've got to tell him this. 4
Yeah.
years.
Right.
Um,
Right.
It was difficult. So I did, though, because we also had to figure out, also there's got to be resilience, there's got to be strength, and you have to find a way, and sometimes it's just, as I've said before, it's just what's the next opportunity. So let's just figure out what the next opportunity is.
Yes. Yes. And so, how did you take it when your mother, came to you?
I was devastated. I mean,
Okay.
you have this idea of having a plan. Everyone has a plan when they graduate high school. So that's the thing. So everyone's got a plan. You're always talking about it senior year, especially
Right.
what you're gonna do after high school and things like that. I thought I had my plan and what I was
Yes.
gonna do and work towards.
Yes.
And you just feel like you're robbed of your plan. So everything that you have prepared for, everything that you're looking forward to, everything that you just were in preparation for, it's gone. So, I mean, when my mom told me, I was heartbroken, but she told me that we'd find a new opportunity, and I was just, I was hopeful, but at the same time, I was like, not really, because I didn't know if there was going to be an opportunity right
sure.
away. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yes.
because opportunities don't always come the next night. It could take
Would you
months.
wait?
That's a word.
Wait.
That's a
We have to
word.
repeat that, sweetie. Oh, repeat it. Opportunities. What?
Don't always come the next night.
Yeah.
Opportunities don't always come the next night. That's what makes it so hard, and that's the faith walk. I want to talk about this
Yes,
part
yes.
because what happens is, if you can just wake up tomorrow, if you can just keep waking up,
Mhm.
it's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be there in the morning, but I promise if you keep waking up, what I'm saying, if you keep hoping, if you keep understanding that there is a plan, it's gonna happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us what
Exactly.
happened, John.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. So tell me what you did on the sneak.
On the fifth
Yeah,
night,
because
on
it's
the
not.
first night we cried. On the second night we were mad as hell. On the third night we got some ice cream. On the fourth night, I don't know. We probably finally had the conversation.
And
on
then
the fifth night,
and on the fifth night, so then there's the plan. So I thought he's really amazing in front of the camera. And, you know, that's with the discerning eye. Not because he's my child, but because he is. Because I'm
Yeah.
always honest with him.
yes.
If they're really great at something, I'm going to tell them that. I'm not going to just say that just to
Just to say it.
gaslight them. I'm going
Right.
to tell them that because
Right.
it's the truth. And there was just something with him in front of the camera. I started to see that the camera loved him and he loved the camera.
Come
Yeah.
on now.
He loved
Yeah.
to be in front of it, and he was capturing because he was shooting all the social media content,
Yeah.
and I thought, well, there's something here.
Mhm.
Now, standard size height for males is 6 feet. That
Right.
can be a roadblock for some, but I thought there's lots of different avenues. There's print, there's commercial, which
Which
actually,
I've done both.
Commercial is, by the way,
Yeah,
Hype
which I've
yourself
done.
up.
Yeah, done both.
Hype yourself up.
and there's more money in commercial anyway, and in
Yes.
print than there is on the runway. But I thought, you know, we're gonna do this. So it was probably 1 or 2 a.m. I just started submit. He had no idea because I wasn't going to tell him and have him be disappointed again.
Oh, okay.
I just started submitting him to several agencies in the Phoenix market. Several. I woke up to my email was dinging.
Ooh, you better stop.
No, look at his face. Look at
Look,
his
look,
face.
yes.
He has a great look. I want to see him. He has a great look. We want to see him.
Come on now.
Y'all gonna make me
And I was
cry.
like, well,
Y'all
here's
gonna
this-
make
here's
me
this
cry, for real,
opportunity.
for real.
so then
Day
I went and told him. That's day 5. There were at least 5
My Lord.
agencies that wanted to see him.
I just want to tell y'all that I've never heard this story before. So the fact that I picked number 5 out of everything,
Come on. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
It was
5
about day 5.
agencies
Yes.
Come on now.
ready to build the door for you.
Yes.
Mhm.
That said, we see something. Oh, we love his look. This is great. We want to see him. Oh. And so then I'm thinking, so then we had options. And so when I told him,
But
Oh.
what you do? You went to sleep and woke up in the morning. What'd you say?
I said,
And then what he said? Well, first he said, "It's not gonna come the next night." No,
I
baby,
said-
it might come the next
Morning.
morning.
Yeah, it didn't come the next night. It came a few hours earlier.
I love it.
so we were able to choose, you know, which would be the best one for him.
yes.
Mhm.
And an agency that wasn't focused so much on height, but they all, because there's different things you can read, as far as like reading scripts and things like
Okay.
that. There's a lot to learn, and so we kind of jumped right into that with self-tapings, and you learn quick
And
what
it's-
you need to
yeah,
do.
It's a lot of
And
work
it's,
for
it's
sure.
a lot of work. It's very intense.
And how was that for you? First of all, I need to hear how you reacted.
How I reacted? I
I'm sorry, I can't
Yeah.
let that skip. How did you react, love?
Oh,
when
yeah.
your mother, when she came
Yeah,
and
I was
said,
so excited just to hear that, like, there were people, because, when you get that opportunity taken away from you by someone else, it almost feels like you're not good enough.
Right?
So
Yes.
when I did
Yes.
hear that there were people that wanted to see me, wanted to see my look, that liked my look, that were interested in me, it made me feel better about myself, and it just made me really excited because I felt like, I have an opportunity for something else. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
yes.
something that I wasn't looking at, but now something that I'm extremely open to. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yes, and I love that. I love what you just said, love, because there are times that we have our mind fixed. I know we talked about this on another show where someone was disappointed in a different venue that they didn't make it. And the thing is, you have to be open.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to be
Yes.
open that God can already have a plan set out that doesn't look like ours.
Right.
Mhm.
Sometimes our plan, it doesn't mean it wasn't important, because I want to tell you something. Skills and experience, love, you can't lose them.
Right.
Mhm.
So everything you were prepping for before this opportunity, baby, I know you still use it.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course, yes.
Yes,
I do still use it.
You
Exactly.
know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So there are times that we may not see the picture,
Right.
but there was a reason we have that skill.
It's,
There was a reason we have that.
I say it all the time. The main reason that I work with creatives and entrepreneurs is number one, I feel like we don't necessarily have the resources and the support
Mhm.
outside of our small circles. Everybody's
Yeah.
like, this is my information. You can't have this.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
willing to like share anything or help anybody grow. They're really
Exactly.
like reserved for
Exactly.
themselves.
The second thing is, as a creative and an entrepreneur, we are very goal oriented. And what's that end goal? And sometimes we just have blinders on. So having those blinders, you don't necessarily see all of the resources that you actually do have. You just have to tap into it. You don't see the correlation between, fashion.
Yeah, because you know, you never really thought about. I didn't at least. I mean, now every time I explain it to someone, I always say taking pictures in fashion, kind of put it together. It's kind of like modeling in a sense. But I didn't think about that before the opportunity came for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then,
I do love.
yeah. But then when you kind of get the opportunity for things, you can kind of shift things around and able to make it work. You know what I mean?
I like this.
Intentionally pivot. So let's talk
Intentionally
about
pivot.
what you do now. Because outside of just being in front of the camera, you do a lot more. Just as Miss Monique said, you're actually applying a lot of the things that you were using to prepare for what you thought was your dream job.
Yes, exactly. So, as a stylist, so I still did style before. I did do men's fashion stylist. I love fashion, like how I said. So
No.
putting those, yeah, as you couldn't tell, putting those things together, putting looks on both men and women as a whole. I mean, that's just always been something I loved. And even though I didn't do it for that specific company, I still have done it in private. I've still done it with myself. I still make my fashion content. I still do everything related to fashion. I mean, every time I go out, every time I do an event, every time,
You put
everything,
it on. You
I put it
We
on.
know you
Yes.
do.
Exactly.
We know
And
do.
as you
I'm a
should,
fan. I'm
and
a
you
fan.
should, because there's. Let me tell you what is my saying about sunglasses, baby? If somebody tells you you're too bright, give them a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah.
Because that's their problem.
Yeah.
That's not your problem.
We're not dimming
And
lights over.
I
and
want you to
something-
come out your way.
Exactly. And like something for me is like I wear things that typically maybe other people wouldn't wear or other people wouldn't put together, but that's me. You know what I mean? That's what makes me different for everybody else. Like I put
Yes.
on things that people may not necessarily like, or maybe colors or patterns that people wouldn't necessarily wear, but if I can do
works
it,
for
yeah,
you.
it works for me, right?
Exactly.
So-
Exactly.
And he got that fashion stylist job shortly after the other job had fallen
Fell
through.
off.
And
Yeah.
Because that wasn't your
Is it-
space.
And he
Yeah.
was a shop manager
For
for Hugo
whatever
Boss.
reason, right? So being that we
Come
had
on now.
a shift in management or whatever it may be,
Yep.
if the manager was there, maybe it would have been
Mhm.
phenomenal.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
when there's power shifts and
Right.
like you never know what the environment is, and we just got to be grateful because sometimes we think, oh yeah, I want to be here, I want to be here, and you're there, but then you stay there.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, well, we know now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
It
more
wasn't
than
for me.
obvious. So,
Exactly. Tell us more about the modeling, baby. So how did that come about? I mean, I know you were saying they usually don't take men that aren't over 6 foot.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
so
So
how
that
did
was
you
another
get-
thing. So
Mhm.
when I did when my mom did talk to me about being a model and things like that, that's the first thing that came into my head was, okay, well, I'm not the tallest person ever. So now we kind of have another, you know what I mean, like another,
Challenge her.
yeah,
Okay.
because I was always set on for modeling. You know, I always like being in front of the camera, so like runway or even pictures. But then I had the further discussion with our mom, and she was just saying, you know, with print, they don't look at height. So that kind of opened up that door. So print, same with commercial, they're looking for different heights, complexions, everything. That opened for that. And then, but there was still one that I really wanted to do, which was runway. So I was kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'll just give it a shot and see, you know, even though like it's not necessarily like what they're looking for.
let me just tell you, he said give it a shot, he came in with an AK-47,
Yeah.
a bazooka,
Yeah.
a flamethrower, because
Yeah.
but that's how it goes, though. Like,
Mhm.
that's how it goes. I want to know a little bit about some of the adversities that you have faced within your journey outside of, like, the just the physical height and stuff like that. Do you have you faced anything just within the industry in itself as far as being new, maybe not as seasoned?
Yes.
And
So,
even a man of color. I'm going to be
Mhm.
real with you,
Yeah.
baby.
So even in the beginning, there's a lot of things to learn. So talking to other models that maybe have been doing it for a couple years, they're not always open or the smallest word nice, to new models or to anybody who doesn't know maybe how to walk properly or how to pose in front of the camera. They're not always open to helping you because they already have what they're going on, and they're not open to helping anybody else grow. So a lot of the times as a new model, you kind of have to learn for yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not really,
Really?
a lot of it is, you have to do things for yourself, do research for yourself, try to get with people. There's out of 100 people, there's probably 30 people that are actually willing to help you or coach you through different things, which is why now I know how it was when I was in that position. So, which is why I like doing what I do now, which is coaching new models and
nice.
developing
Model
new
coach.
models. Yes.
Nice. Oh,
Mhm.
that's beautiful. I love
Yes.
the give back,
Yeah.
honey.
So I now like to teach models, runway, print, everything like that. Just build their confidence on another level, because again, even in the modeling industry, it can be hard, like, because you kind of compare yourself a lot to other people.
Yeah.
I did that more so in the beginning. I obviously don't do that now.
Yes.
But even in the beginning, you compare yourself to maybe this person got more opportunities, what this person looks like. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yes.
just natural things in the model world that you have to get over, which is what I do now to help
That's
kids and
beautiful.
teens, everyone else,
That's
get to that.
beautiful. So part of Monique's Mondays is we talk about mind health.
Mm-hmm.
So during this process, because you get hurdles and then you sometimes get to more hurdles,
Yes.
especially as you're going, right? Because you're going up, because you're getting into other spaces.
Mm-hmm.
How do you maintain your mental health? How do you stay on top of your mind health
Mm-hmm.
with not getting too low, meaning not getting into a depressive spot
Mm-hmm.
or having anxiety? What do you do?
So I would say about this time last year, I struggled heavily with depression and anxiety. So both, really bad. You can even ask my mom. I probably was not the same at all. Just kind of completely different person. From there, I would say that having open communication with somebody.
Yes.
I did go to therapy, which was nice.
Yes.
Just be able to talk about things that were in my head.
I'm so proud of
Things
you.
like that. Thank you. And it's kind of hard, to admit that not necessarily that you have a problem, but just
don't feel
admit,
the same.
yeah,
Right.
Yes.
and
Yes.
when everyone's constantly saying you're not the same, like you're just kind of different, like that also doesn't
I
make
bet
you
that threw
feel,
you.
yeah, like that doesn't make you feel good.
Yes.
It's like, okay, well, what's different, or like what can I do to get back to the person I was,
Yes.
before. So fast forward to now, I'm doing a lot better.
I'm so
So I
glad.
see a therapist and a psychiatrist, so both. So those
I'll
things have
snap
helped
in.
me. Yeah, so those things have both helped me today with my anxiety and my depression, having that open communication. I talk a lot with my mom about how I'm
Yes.
feeling and things like that. So that's always a plus, and that's helped me now.
I love it. I thank you for being
Yes.
open, baby.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing that, because here I love when you said, when people say, so I have a little thing, but when people say, well, you're not acting yourself, or you're not the same, and you know you're hurting, but sometimes you don't know why.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be careful not approaching the person who is hurting, trying to make them come up with their own answer.
Right.
Because the truth is, if I could make myself feel better,
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would. But it is important not to ignore it, baby.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying, and you didn't.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, with that, if something is happening inside of you and you can't figure it out,
Yeah.
I love that your mother was a safe space.
Mhm.
Yes.
We also have good friends that can be a safe space. Even new strangers, new people you might meet, honey, they
Might
can be.
easier.
Yes.
Yes, it is sometimes easier to talk to somebody that you don't know completely. You know what I mean? Because then
Yes.
there's just absolutely no judgment. I mean, you don't even know the person.
Right.
Right.
So-
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And that's vital. I love the healing process because on the other side of this is greatness. I want
Yeah.
to tell you, on the other side of getting through your pain is more greatness. It does not mean that you don't get those lows sometimes.
Right.
Mhm.
It's oftentimes they don't come as low.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. So sometimes you might get, you might have your highs and lows, but they don't get to the point where you feel like you have to give up.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. Oh my goodness. So what advice would you give us, love? First of all, about perseverance, and then second, about being your authentic self.
Individual, yes.
Yes.
As far as perseverance, it's definitely easier said than done. So there's gonna be roadblocks, there's gonna be problems, but at the end of the day, if you have your mind and your goal set on something, it's just really important to keep working towards it. And it might not be, as soon as mine, but it's still there.
5 days.
No.
It's still there. Yeah.
2
5
days.
days.
No.
3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
The opportunity will still be there at the end of the day. You just have to keep your mind towards it. Keep going down that path, straight and narrow.
I love it. I love it. And tell us about, what advice would you give, sweetheart, about just embracing your authenticity? Embracing,
Yes.
because I love when you said, I put together what I want.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
Always.
Because you got my mind going right on this couch, buddy, looking
I
at
know.
color. I'm looking at color all around.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at the colors that can blend with this.
I know, right?
Yes.
I would definitely say to always be your true self. So I've always been true to myself in who I am, no matter what other people, have to say or how they look at me. I personally, at the end of the day, I like being the center of attention. So for me, when people look at me or give me dirty looks, it's like, I don't really care as
You carry
much.
a lot of sunglasses.
Yeah,
baby.
always. One in every pocket.
We need a full sunglass sponsorship.
Yes.
Right here.
Always.
Right here.
Always. Because at the end of the day, you have to think, in 10, 20 years, these people, you're not going to know these people.
In
Like-
10, 20 minutes. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Where you
you-
going?
you're
Where
not
we
going to
going?
Oh,
know.
y'all gonna make me shout.
Yeah, you're not going to know these
Nice.
people. So
Nice
these
to
people
know.
don't help me with my bookings.
Well,
They, you know
they're
what I
not
mean?
feeding you.
Yeah, they don't
Right.
pay my bills. So I could care less. You know what I mean?
I
love
do.
that.
I love
Yeah.
all of that, honey.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, baby.
Yes, of
Thank
course.
you for joining us today. I
Yes.
appreciate it,
Before you
sweetheart.
close out, I actually have a question for you.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I know. But I want to know that when you recognize that somebody may not be in their self, they're not being themselves, what is a good way to approach them that isn't going to make them shrink or feel more self-conscious? And I know it's different with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But from a professional standpoint, I want to know what is the best way to approach them?
A lot of this is based on your relationship. So I want you to be very clear, because there's some information I'm not going to take. I'm going to be real. From someone I feel doesn't really care for me. Even though they might
Yeah,
see
that's
something
true.
different in me, I'm still going to have a little bit of defense.
Yeah.
I'm like, who she thinks she is coming to
Yeah.
say something's
Yeah.
off about me, something's not right. Even though they may have good intention, okay? However, that still should not stop a person. If I'm in a circle, let's say we're all friends in a circle, sometimes in friendships, one person is closer to somebody than the other person.
Right.
Mhm.
I don't mind going to you. I don't mind saying, Dominique, I'm so worried about Tyler. I'm concerned. He doesn't seem himself, and girl, you're closer. Do you mind just telling him or asking if he's okay?
Yeah.
So we began to not just leave a person. I'm telling you this for a reason, audience. Don't just leave a person, because we've lost people.
Yeah.
We've lost people to suicide. We've lost people to isolation, addiction, because that's none of my business. It is your business. We're each other's business. Now, how we get into each other's business, that shows up different.
Right.
But it is okay to care. So I would say approach, if you know that person, also be able to talk to them. Don't accuse them of, yeah, you've been funny style, you've been this, don't attack.
Right.
Just say,
Right.
first of all, I would just say, Lovey, how you doing? You okay Day? You don't seem yourself like, you haven't seemed happy this past week or two. Or you seem worried, like you might be worried about something. It's still up to that person to be real with you, but at the same time, I'm gonna tell you a secret. People may look like they didn't listen, but they heard. And they will many times go to somebody they trust or love and say, you know what, somebody asked me how I'm doing. Do you see something different?
Yeah.
So that's what I want to say is, don't ignore pain. We can see it. Don't ignore someone's pain. It's okay to ask, even if we do it among friendships. Yeah, that's what I would advise. And then also, I'm not trying to put nobody down on anywhere, but honey, don't try to be the therapist. Don't try to be the therapist. I mean, I've never seen I'm never entering, I don't believe so, unless God had another plan, an emergency room, and then tell a patient to come, I got surgery for him, okay? I'm not throwing off the therapist robe to put on my mask and everything, because that's not my place. There are times we need professional intervention. We have studied, we have really gone to school, and there are certain things that we can bring to the table. We shouldn't be there for our friends, we should. But when you know it's a little above, it's okay to say, hey, I'll help you. I'll even help you find somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
But go ahead and let professionals handle that. If you can't truly, if you don't feel you can find anyone, there is a site I want you to look at, and I don't pump up a lot of places, but just go to Psychology Today. Psychology Today, I think it's .org or .com. And you can put in your zip code, and they show all the therapist faces from your zip code and what they do. And it is amazing. It's amazing. It's a beautiful site. Just reach out to someone. Also, I said these next episodes, I want to say, if you're in crises, dial 988, okay? 988, that's crises across the country. I want us all to feel well, outside and inside.
I just wanted to say something too, that I think it's important when you have a loved one, you want to be observant and you want to create that safe space for them so that they do talk to you.
Yeah.
And that's something that's always been really important for me with all my kids, is to, no matter what it is, they know that they can come and talk to me.
Yeah.
We can talk about anything and how they're feeling, and then you just help them navigate and work through whatever it is that they are, what they are dealing with. And even talking about past experiences, because TAYLAN and I would have conversations about how I had felt when I was around his age, and things that I had dealt with along the same things.
And then it makes you feel like you're not
and
alone.
Anxiety. It's the same thing. So we could talk about it. Like I understand. I truly do understand. I've been in those.
Because a lot of people will try to give you information, but they don't really know.
They haven't dealt with
They
it.
don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
So
we
it's
don't
like-
know what we don't know. That just goes back to what Miss Monique said, right? So because you all have that relationship, we are all blessed enough to have a really strong family unit and space where we can go and talk. And the thing about it is a lot of these things are genetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
We talked about that.
A
Mhm.
lot,
Yes.
a
talked
lot
about that.
of a lot of mental health stuff is genetic. Not
Abs-
all of it, but a lot of it is genetic. So even opening up that dialogue prior to entering a space.
Yes.
And-
So
Yes, baby. And I want to say this, and not being embarrassed.
that's what I was
Right.
saying.
And I'm not saying you were love, but I'm saying that we not be embarrassed to say, you know what? I did have suicidal ideation, or I had depression so bad I could barely get out the bed, or my anxiety was so terrible it just came on me at a certain. Being able to say that to our children
Yes.
is phenomenal because they are sitting there saying, "Oh my gosh, okay, I get it. This person knows." I told my children, one of my children started she was experiencing anxiety out of this world at a certain age, and some depression. Well, I did too, but I started telling her early.
Yeah.
Because I was noticing something. Just like you said, notice our loved ones. And I said, baby, I think this is going on. We're going to go get it checked out, because even though I'm a therapist, I'm not diagnosing my own children. I said, we're going to go get it checked out because I went through it.
Right.
So we have to be willing to say, hey, this might be something. I experienced it. And sometimes it's not just us, our grandparents. So a grandparent might have experienced it, or what have you. This is a conversation that needs to be had in our communities.
Yeah. That it's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mental health, I mean, we all experience it. It shouldn't be taboo. It shouldn't be frowned upon. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
sometimes people would look at you, or even me, and never know
Yes.
that that
Yes.
Well, I
any
think
of
that's
that
what
ever
the hardest-
happens.
That's the hardest
right?
part of
Yes.
it is you could have a physical ailment and see it.
Say it.
You literally be on the floor bleeding.
Yes,
You
baby.
can see that.
Yeah.
You have something. You can see that. You can't see into somebody's mind.
Right.
You don't know what anyone is dealing with at any given moment, whether it be somebody just cut them off on the road, or they're dealing with a death and it's an anniversary, or
Right.
so you just really never know.
Yes.
And I think that's what's important is, again, opening up that dialogue, having these transparent conversations. So grateful.
So grateful.
Well, it can give you the gift of empathy too.
Yeah.
My aunt said everybody has a gift, and that mine is empathy. But it helps you to
got more
really
than that. We gonna
listen to people
we
and
gonna give you that.
and understand. And I see that in TAYLAN. I see how he interacts with people, and with the model coaching, how they take to him.
Yeah.
Because there's, you have to be able. They feel safe with him. They,
I
they
love
trust
that.
him.
I love that.
And they feel appreciated. And even he had a workshop last night, and one of them was 4. She was tiny, and he gets down to her level, eye level with her to have the conversation about her walk, and it's just it's that level of care.
Yeah.
Compassion. That's it. Yeah.
I love it. Let's get to talking. I love it. That's what this is about. Let's start talking, and know that no matter what you're going through, you can still make it. I need you to wake up in the morning.
Yes, ma'am. This is Monique's Monday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
baby.
so much for having me.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you for
my
having
love.
us. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my girl. Love y'all. Okay, it's on. No.
That was good.